Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Lions Den podcast. This is a Monday night football podcast. The last week of the jornada. Leon will be playing twice this week. We'll definitely fill you in on those games throughout the podcast. But we'll definitely be talking about everything that happened this past jornada weekend, including Leon's frustrated game versus Toluca, which we'll definitely pour out our little hearts on here. Everybody who is listening us via, Facebook soon, but YouTube and Periscope, let us know your thoughts, comments, interact with us. Let us know. You don't have to agree with everything we say. We like the very back and forth conversation. So, yeah. But yes, this is episode 95, La Ultima y Nos Vamos. Carlos and Louis, gentlemen, how are we feeling tonight before the last two games?
Just want to get to them. It's getting pretty frustrating watching this team dominate games and not be able to have nothing to show for it.
Yep. Yeah, it's frustrating. The lack of finishing. There's I don't know, man. We're close to the top four spots, but I don't know. I don't know if I feel like we're contenders just yet.
Well, I think we are, but I think everybody is at this point. I think this is about as wide open a league as we've had in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Like even in the past few years, like Leon's been one of them. Like when in the Clausura 19 or the year they won a title, they ran rampant through the league and they were the clear favorites. This year, I don't think there is a clear favorite. I mean, America has the Superliderato amarrado, but they have not looked. I mean, have you seen them play? They don't look that good. Especially this last week. I mean, they lost a final. I mean, murió a nada, and then losing to Cruz Azul. They're the super leader. They're going to be super leader, but they don't look like contenders either. I don't think anybody really looks like a contender. So in that sense, we're as much a contender as anyone else is, I would say. But that doesn't change the formas. Like it's score goals and keep them out. And actually, that last part we're doing pretty well at, and that is an encouraging sign. The defense, which has been questioned at various points, has looked pretty solid. I mean, Toluca couldn't really do much of anything against us. Were it not for Ruben Sambueza, they wouldn't have had anything going at all, as far as I'm concerned. And even so, I think we did a pretty good job on him, all things considered. Mosquera had a pretty good game, against him, being matched up with him a lot. Defensively, we haven't looked bad. That does bode well for Liguilla. They tend to be partidos muy cerrados, like very, very tight, low-scoring games. So in that sense, I mean, I think Leon is doing pretty well to prepare for Liguilla. They're playing a lot of tight, low-scoring games. The problem is you also cannot win a Liguilla without scoring a single goal. I mean, I guess technically it's possible if you're the higher seed all the way through 0-0, 0-0, 0-0, 0-0, and then just win a penalty shootout in the final. But I don't think that's a good game plan. They're going to have to figure out their attacking prowess at least a little bit if they want to have any chance of making noise in Liguilla, which I think they can. But they have two chances left. Most teams only have one. We've got two to really get things going, and they got to get things going in the attack. They just have to. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, and I mean, we have 2 games left, but before this weekend we had 3, and we spoke about it in last podcast, and we said this is a good game to really put ourselves in a good position where we can actually be in the top 4. And now we're still in a position to put ourselves in the top 4, but there's a lot of competition, and it's going to be difficult, especially with these next 2 games that are coming up against Cruz Azul, who just had a huge win last night, and Necaxa, who are not doing too bad. They're actually doing pretty well right now. So, yeah, it's an uphill battle, but let's hope we get into the top 4.
Well, the fact remains, we win these last 2 games, we're in the top 4. We're mathematically in the top 4 if we win these last 2 games. We would have been, had we won all 3, we would have been assured second place. But if we win these last 2, we're still assured of no less than third. And depending on what Atlas does, we can still make it to second. As long as you're in the top 4 somewhere, I'm not too worried. We can still very much get there. We have if we beat Cruz Azul on Wednesday, we're pretty much in the driver's seat for that. If we beat Cruz Azul on Wednesday, that gives us a really, I don't know what our mathematical odds at that point would be of getting into the top four, but I think they'd be pretty good. And so I think, they played this Toluca match like, I don't know, maybe they were going to kind of take it easier in that one and really go all out against Cruz Azul. I mean, that's what I have to think. That's what I like to think. 2 games in a short period of time. You can't give your all in both of them. So maybe you take things a little easier in one. Maybe they decide to do that against Toluca so they can really play against Cruz Azul como si fuera una final, because that's what they're going to have to do if they really want la clasificación directa. That's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to get a win in the Azteca on Wednesday because they took it easy against Toluca. But at the same time, they made one sub the entire match. They played 90 minutes with some of the same guys who they're going to have to float out there on Wednesday as well. You think Angel Mena's not going to play against his former team, against Cruz Azul, and you think his legs aren't going to be affected by this at his age? I do. I don't know. They played as though they didn't care too much about winning this game.
Mm-hmm.
But Holland didn't treat it as though he didn't care about winning this game. If he did, he would have made more subs and he would have rested legs. That's what I don't get about him, about them. Maybe they just didn't care because they didn't care, not because they're looking ahead to Cruz Azul. That's the worst case scenario, I'd say.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just pure apathy. I don't know. Something, because they could have, they controlled this match. They controlled this match, and they have nothing to show for it. They controlled this match pretty easily. They possessed the ball easily. Except when Sambuesa has it, just because he's a crack. He's to do everything. He's to do everything for every team he's ever on. He's the one you got to look out for every team he's ever on, even at age 38. But no one else was doing anything. Leon controlled that match, and they couldn't. We can talk about VAR that has not been our friend this season, and how that PK was the result of a good build-up, and we should have been rewarded for it. But that was just one play out of how many in the entire match. There should have been other moments where they found the back of the net, the way they controlled the match, and they just didn't do it. They didn't do it. It's frustrating. It's frustrating, and it's especially frustrating for me. I haven't seen too many away 0-0 draws. And those are the only times you're like, ugh, why did I even bother with this?
There's a lot of fans that made the trip with you, Louis. I was surprised.
Well, you have to understand how close to Mexico City it is. So whether Puebla also, there were a ton of us in Puebla, a ton of us in Toluca, because of how many Leon fans, how many fans of every team there are in Mexico City region. So yeah, we always have good representation, of course, in Mexico City, but also in Toluca, also in Puebla. There were a bunch of us, but also even the LDA, the Leon chapter of LDA, pretty much all of them made the trip. Who usually travel in non-COVID times. I'm pretty sure most of them made the trip. The visiting section, which I was not in, but I was close to, was pretty packed.
Dang.
Yeah,
so a lot of people,
you can see them on the broadcast.
A lot of people made the trip for that.
For a draw.
Yeah. For that.
Yeah.
Yes. I can just imagine. So right before we get to the pregame, if we look back since jornada 10, we lose against Atlas 2-0. We have that awful draw with San Luis 0-0. We did win against Mazatlan 1-0. Then we won against Monterrey 1-0. Like I said, no hay tantos goles. We lose against Pumas. We barely scrape by against Puebla, and then now we're 0-0.
Yeah, we had a hot middle of the season, and then somehow something just went wrong. And I don't
early
even know
middle.
early middle, but I don't even know what I can call out as far
you can
as
get
what
you
wrong.
can rescue from that, right? We did win against Monterrey.
Yeah, but it seems like we're trending. It seems like we're trending downward, and I don't even know where to put the blame.
But who's trending upward right now? I guess you could say Tigres are pretty much the only team in our like atmosphere that is trending upward. I don't think anyone else really is. Look at Atlas. They get that 6-2 win at San Luis, which is like, where did that come from? And now like they used up all the goals they're going to score in that match. It looks like because
they lose against Xolos.
I mean, they lose 2-0 at home against Xolos.
Mm-hmm.
The only team mathematically eliminated from repechaje right now, or maybe Querétaro is now too. No, I think Querétaro still technically isn't. Like the only team mathematically goes in and does that to Atlas. Like everyone at the top is trending down, or maybe Cruz Azul. I mean, getting that big win against America, but I mean, America doesn't. In league, they don't really have anything to play for. They are assured of the Superliderato. Like, I mean, they don't lose anything by that. I mean, a little bit of dignity, I suppose. You know, you don't want to lose a rivalry game no matter what the circumstances. But like, nobody's Monterrey. Yeah, I mean, they're gonna get a little moral boost, I guess, from having won the Conca Champions in front of their fans. But like before that, how many straight games have they lost or not won in league? You know, and they lost to us at home. They lost to Necaxa last minute at home. Like nobody's really trending up, or nobody who's a true title contender.
Yeah.
Inward right now, I would say. That's why I think there's an opportunity here, especially with 2 games left instead of just 1.
Mm-hmm.
We have an opportunity to figure things out.
That's how the league is, though. Like, this is ligaMX for you. Like, when you have a title contender play someone at the bottom of the table, it always seems to go the other way. That's the bracket breaker for the weekend. It almost seems. But when you have 2 contenders going at it, those are like the hottest games. Those are the ones that when you watch them, you go, okay, this is what I expected out of the league. It's just the ones like you just named, the Atlas versus Xolos, where you go, this is an easy game for Atlas. They should golearlos like nothing, and then they lose 2-0. I don't know. It feels like that's how the league is nowadays.
Yeah, Carlos, but it feels exaggerated to me this season. It feels like there have been more clear contenders that have come out of the woodwork in the last few seasons, especially. And it just doesn't seem like that to me at all this season. I think it's really, really wide open, which is what makes Clasificación Directa even more important than it usually would be. Because there are going to be some teams that, if they had a full Liguilla opportunity, there's going to be some teams like that are going to get eliminated in one game, in a knockout game, you know? So that's why
Monterrey and Puebla, right?
Yeah, like there are going to be some good teams, some teams that in other seasons would be contenders that are going to get knocked out of repechaje just because they didn't do what was necessary to get into the Clasificación Directa in a season that's so wide open like this one. Yeah, I hope they come out against Cruz Azul and do what they did not do against Toluca and play like it's a final. Because I still think that's a winnable game. Not as winnable perhaps as Toluca, but it's a winnable game. It's still a winnable game.
And I hope they come out with a chip on their shoulder for the campeones.
Yeah. Yeah, a little revancha. Well, I wanted them to be thinking revancha against Toluca for the unmentionable repechaje match last season, but they didn't. They just didn't. Yeah. They did not look like, I don't know. And I mean, Holland obviously wasn't here for that. So that's like, there's no antecedentes for Holland, except for the Campeón de Campeones. I mean, that was his first official match for León, and he lost. So maybe he's thinking he doesn't care about that Toluca match. Maybe let's hope that he really cares about that Cruz Azul match for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I think Changoloco had a comment. He said, I'm not feeling the league. The league needs to go back to the top 8 for playoffs. At this point, anyone can win it. Drawing is okay. Wish it was a win.
Yeah, but then how are you going to give Chivas a chance to get in?
Yeah.
You know?
When you party.
Well, just yes and no. Worth mentioning that both times that they've had the repechaje now, having brought it back, the super leader ended up winning the league. So, Yes and no, you know?
Let's hope it doesn't happen this season.
With that being said, we're gonna go ahead and Carlos, you ready for our pregame?
Yes.
Pregame news.
Very quickly, Avion Ramirez did not travel with the team. I guess he picked up an injury during the midweek match with the national team in Charlotte. Not exactly sure what happened to him, but he was not on the match day roster, so everyone speculated something was wrong with him. Also, I put this down, but it's no longer true. I said if the club wins the last 3 games, we'll end up in second place. Now the best we can do, as Louis mentioned, is be in the top 4. Yeah. So we have our destiny on our own hands.
We can still get into second place. It's just we don't control our own destiny.
Miracle.
It depends on the combination of results, right?
No, all that has to happen is that Atlas doesn't win.
Who does Atlas play?
Atlas plays against Gallos Blancos, so they probably will win. But then again, they just lost to Xolos at home, so
exactly.
Anything's possible. Yeah, we can get to 29. No, I guess I'm wrong. Atlas must lose.
Atlas lose. Yeah. So we have to win these next 2 games, and Atlas has to lose.
Yes, but if we win these last 2 games, we can finish no worse than 3rd.
No, Atlas can draw.
Wait, are they sitting on 28 or 29?
They're sitting on 26.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you're right. You're right. So if Atlas does not win their final jornada, we win our last 2, we will be in second.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Tigres have 1 match, and if they win it, they're at 28.
If they win, they're at 29. If we win, we're at 29. But then we have to look at.
But they would more than likely get us on goal differential.
Yeah, especially how we've been looking.
Unless we absolutely thrash Necaxa at home in the last match day by like a score of 5-0 or something like that.
Yeah.
Which has not been our MO at all this season. So I'm not thinking if we're depending on goal differential to pass anybody, I'm not thinking that's likely to happen.
Yeah.
But winning these last 2 and getting into 3rd, as you can get to 29, Tigres can get only to 28, and Toluca can get to 27.
Yeah.
So we're still very much in the driver's seat for a direct qualification, but we got to put up or shut up. Exactly. Controlling your destiny is only worthwhile if you do it. Yeah. If you don't let the opportunity slip by.
Yeah.
Got to take care of work, man.
Oh, and also pregame news, Carlos. I mentioned this to you in the chat, but Elias Hernandez was convocado for this match, but he was sitting in the owner's box with Chucho Martinez.
Know what happened?
I don't know what happened. My only thinking is they made the decision that he wasn't going to play in this match and that maybe he'll start against Cruz Azul, la ley del ex. That's what I'm thinking. Like they just decided he wasn't going to play, so why be on the pitch? He, along with Ivan Vázquez Mellado, who was also in the convocatoria, but the only backup goalkeeper we had on the field ultimately was Poncho Blanco. So the 2 of them were with Rodrigo Fernandez and Chucho Martinez in the visitors' palco in the Bombonera, which was just up right behind where I was sitting. And the only reason I realized this was because one of the cheleros asked me, because I was right next to the aisle and he was walking by, he saw my León jersey. He was like, "Oh, you're a León fan. Who's that player who's up there in the palco, in the León palco, sitting there?" And I was like, I turned around and I squinted up there. I looked and I was like, "Oh, that's Elias. What's he doing up there?" Like I hadn't even noticed or thought about it. I hadn't looked at the players who were warming up or who were, the suplentes who were on the field. I didn't check and I didn't look at them. I didn't look too closely to see that he wasn't down there. And then it turns out he was up there in the palco. So hopefully that just means they're saving him for Wednesday.
Yeah.
But still, it's like, Carlos, he's going to give us our starting lineup for that game. But then you think about leaving out players like Elias and Navarro, which Louis, they took this game like.
Well, you saw the whole, the Twitter fiasco that Al Navarro tweeted was just a shrugging emoji, and
I saw
like
that.
people
That's a
made
mood. That
people
was
made
my mood.
people made such an enormous deal about it. Like, he could have been just talking about the result, which was a very shrug result. But obviously, like, he's fit to play. He should play.
Especially if Avion is, has been getting started, he's
I mean, I
in
still
like
can't. I still don't imagine. I still don't imagine he's fit enough to start and play even 60. But you could, if you bring him on to play the last 30. I'll bet he could do that.
Yeah.
You should. They should. I don't know what's going on with.
I think Holland messed up by only having one substitution. I mean, when you have that many players and it's basically a must win in a playoff type of atmosphere, you have to go out and win, especially when you have Toluca against the ropes, man. Like, one substitution is not enough. One substitution is not enough.
And then also, I don't know if anyone caught this on the broadcast in the stadium. Ormeño had taken off his warm-ups and was on the sideline, like ready to be subbed in.
Yeah, and he said, "No, I'm not coming off."
In the stadium, they announced, "Cambio, equipo de León sale con el número 20, Emmanuel Gigliotti entra con el número 14, Santiago Ormeño," but it didn't happen.
Yeah, because he told
they
them
made the announcement. They made the announcement, and then Gigliotti didn't come off. Like, what's up with that? Like, nobody's talking about that, but is that that's strange.
That's already 3 incidents that never happened. Elias in the palco, and then you have Navarro tweeting out his little cryptic messages, and then you have this weird incident with the strikers. Man,
but then also
is something happening.
Like, I think maybe it was just a confusion, like, because you had just brought on Gigliotti. Why would you sub him on? Why would you sub a sub? Like that.
So you're telling me that the person was confused of like, you can, if he's not working and you need a goal, you know what I mean? Like,
well, it didn't surprise me.
Said Gigliotti, like with his hand, said like, "No, I'm not coming off," like kind of saying like no, and then you never saw Santiago anymore. Lo mandaron a la banca. Yeah, it was the end of that.
I don't know if it was just a confusion but like Ormeño, like someone, maybe one of the assistant coaches miscommunicated something. I don't know. Someone had told him he was going to go in because he'd taken off his warm-ups. He was standing on the sideline ready to check in. So that was really, really strange. But I don't know. Maybe the PA announcer just screwed up. I wouldn't expect that at the Bombonera when the PA announcer in the Houston Dynamo Stadium in the semifinal of Leagues Cup was screwing up left and right. That didn't surprise me at all. But when it happened in Toluca, that was a little strange. I don't know what was going on with that.
Wow,
very strange.
I'm still saying Gigliotti said I'm not coming off. Because think about it, who else would have come off at that point in time? Para meter a Santi. Like you have Santi and Puma at the same time.
I'd say Davila.
I would have said Davila. I mean,
because I would rather save Davila for Wednesday.
I mean, you're in Holland's mindset. He's already playing with 2 strikers anyway. Davila's not a striker, but in his mind, like, that's what he's going for. So why not? If you want to play with 2 strikers, why not bring on a real striker? But I don't know. Very strange.
Very, very strange. Let's hope it's nothing serious, but I guess we'll know this next week if something's happening. I don't know, man. Maybe the players ya no creen in Ariel Holland. Maybe they don't, because he doesn't even convince me. Like, he doesn't even convince me.
He's not. He's losing me. I feel like he's losing me, and I think he's losing a lot of people. Maybe I mean, we're very harsh as it is, right? Because we're not in a bad stand right now. We have the possibility of, like, you guys have said, and then a second or third. Obviously, I think we're talking about what we see on the field and how we see the past, like, 7-8 games. Like, do we believe that we can actually, be a contender?
I mean, whatever the guy does, I'm not gonna crucify him before he even has a chance to coach one liguilla, because he already won a title for us this season, and that, you can say what you will about the Leagues Cup, but you and I lived that, Carlos. That was cool.
That was cool.
That was like, everything about that was awesome, and it's hardware. And we saw our team win a final, and it clearly meant something to them. Like, the guy won us in his first 6 months. He won us a title, and he hasn't even had a chance to coach one liguilla. Like, I'm not ready to crucify him yet. I mean, if we fall to a repechaje place and we lose a repechaje, then we're having a whole different conversation. But I'm letting the guy coach one liguilla before I'm too harsh with him.
Well, we said at the beginning of the season that we would give him up to like jornada 7, 8 to make a decision about how he's doing, and we're in the 16th now. So
yes, but I think winning the Leagues Cup changed that a bit. I don't know, maybe it didn't for you guys.
Should we give him a grade, like A+?
Should we give him a grade? Yeah, for
like
just league.
D. Yeah, for just the league, Louis. Take off Leagues Cup. Like,
take off Leagues
Cup.
ligaMX.
You had to give him a grade.
But look, by jornada in jornada 10, we were in a really good place. Like, if we were talking at the end of jornada 10, we'd given him an A, or maybe a B+. Like, just because we don't want to give anybody an A. But like, I'll give him somewhere between a B- and a C+ right now.
I'm a little lower than that.
I'm a little lower than that. I was thinking C+.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Like, this guy has a better team than Nacho Ambriz did.
Yes.
Like, we brought in some big guns like Omar Fernandez, who's incredible player, maybe the refuerzo of the last couple of years. Santiago Ormeño. I mean, you literally have 90% of the guys who won the championship 3 seasons ago on the roster. And we don't look anything like we've played, like we used to play with under Nacho Ambriz. It's like, it's not even close. Like, it's not even close.
Well, remember though that none of these guys are Holland's guys. All of those refuerzos were brought in before Holland was hired, and the only refuerzo, por así decirlo, that he asked for was Gigliotti. He asked that they keep Gigliotti when Gigliotti had his foot out the door. So, like, the only guy there that's his guy is Gigliotti, which that's not great,
Why you gotta say it like that? He's great in needed dire moments.
No. I'm not. It's not. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not talking about Gigliotti as a player. I'm talking about the fact that the only guy on the roster who's Holland's guy is Gigliotti. Like, perhaps the only guy who comes in having. The only guy we can talk about who coming in, both of them having a full mutual respect and confidence in one another. Like, the other guys don't even know him, and he doesn't know them. And maybe it's going to take more than a season for that trust to be built. And a full season of having played under him, because like preseason in ligaMX basically is not even a real preseason. They don't have a chance to get to know each other really. So I'm willing to give Holland more time with this.
Yeah.
Like, Ambriz, yes, he was a mid-season replacement, and then the following season started off with a bang and didn't really look back until he left. But still, his first season was rocky, and they didn't even make the liguilla. Like, I think we can give him a little more time. I think we can give him a full season.
Here's a hypothetical. Here's a hypothetical. What if we had instead gone with a different coach, not Ariel Holland, but like Pablo Guede or any of these other names that were on the table, any of these options that were on the table that already had previous ligaMX experience? Because this is Holland's first tournament in ligaMX. He had never coached here before. So would we be playing better with this roster?
I don't know. Our floor might have been raised a little bit, but I don't know if the ceiling would be.
I would have loved to see this team under like Pablo Guede, or who else was it? Who else did we have?
Pablo Guede. I'm trying to think who else.
Somebody said Caballero, I think.
Yeah, Gabriel Caballero.
There were a couple of names, but it would have been interesting. I don't know. But yeah,
I don't know. I feel like
Carlos,
he hasn't
what do you
convinced me.
give? What do you? I mean, Louis said B plus C minus.
no. B minus C plus.
B minus C plus.
I go one grade lower. I go C minus D plus. That's my
D
expectations.
plus.
My expectations are
on.
that high.
D plus.
Listen, if this
Go for
were
it.
America or Chivas,
Mhm.
their expectations are so high. Like they expect A plus out of everything that they do. But
Yeah.
why can't we?
Yeah.
So yeah, I expect, especially with this roster, man. With this roster, with the way we've been playing for the last 4 years?
Yeah.
3 years, 4 years? I mean, why can't it continue? Why did it have to like go down a few levels under a new coach? I mean,
Yeah.
it's just I don't know. It's not convincing me for some reason.
I think that's what he's
I'm
been
that harsh.
referring to a lot.
I'm gonna be harsh.
No, and it's fair enough. I think I've seen a lot of like, especially Toluca game as however they took it as. I mean, you said, Carlos. I mean, we have depth now. We have it. Like,
Yeah.
why not take advantage of it? Why not use it? You have Elias drinking beers upstairs. You know what I mean? And now
Was he having a beer?
I don't think he was drinking beers. That would have been a very bad look. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, come on, like I mean, I agree with Carlos. I'm really harsh. If Leagues Cup is anything of a definition of the type of team that we are, why are we slacking off in ligaMX?
Another thing about this team is that there's no leader. We don't have a vocal leader on the pitch. Before it was maybe Chapo Montes. He would get into guys' ears if they messed up. Maybe Rodolfo Cota does it now, but there's no one out there. We don't have that Rafa Marquez, that leader, that guy who, or that Nacho Gonzalez, or maybe even Navarrito during his time. We don't have someone out there who can lead the pack. Everyone's just kind of doing their own thing.
Yeah.
We need leadership out there.
So Colon Baby needs stepped up.
Someone does.
Colon Baby's not at that point in his
he's
career where he can be that. Yeah.
It has to be one of the veterans.
He's also extremely hot-headed, and he loses his temper. Like he's not the candidate for that right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would go for maybe a William Tecillo, Rodolfo Cota.
But he's not.
Cota already
Mosquera, I would nominate Mosquera, but Mosquera's not a regular starter. He's in and out of the starting lineup.
He has the spirit, but
Nacho Gonzalez was like that too. He wasn't a usual starter, but when he was out there,
you can tell, literally, él tenía garras. You know what I mean? Like he would tell you how it is. Like he kind of reminds me like a Puyol. You know what I mean? Like he's the type of lead that you feel it. And Mosquera is like that spirit. Like, come on, guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I need more of a pun in it for.
Well, also even when Nacho wasn't a regular starter anymore, Montes was there.
Yeah.
Now we don't have either one. So
maybe the loss of Montes is a little harder than we expected. We all thought he was on his way out because of the decline of his game, but maybe it was his leadership that we needed the most.
Yeah.
Tough times. Well, we pretty much scrambled throughout a lot, not really talking about so much Toluca, but let's go ahead and talk about what we saw this past weekend. Did you guys catch any games this weekend?
Almost all of them. I think I watched almost all of them.
Almost all of them.
Yeah.
So starting off with what we talked about previously, Xolos beating Atlas 2-0, Necaxa 2-1 over Mazatlan, Puebla beating Juarez 2-0, Querétaro versus Santos. I really enjoyed watching that game. Did you guys?
That's the one I didn't watch.
I didn't.
That's the one I didn't watch. But I hear it was a really good one.
It was really good. It was a lot of back and forth. It was a really entertaining game.
I was following it. I think was Querétaro down 2-0 and then they tied it. I think that's what it was.
I watched all three games.
I didn't see. Went on the road. I hardly get to see anything.
Yeah. So
I only saw recaps and highlights.
Santos scored early. Yeah, I remember. Santos scored early, 4th minute, then 28. So they went to halftime 2-0. Then Querétaro came back. I don't know what they gave them halftime. They came back y remontaron. And 55-61, those dos. And then the last goal was in stoppage time for Santos, and there was red cards. So it was really entertaining. Best game, probably. Best game for me that I watched that weekend.
I did see most of the second half of Cruz Azul America in a Chili's in Querétaro driving back from Toluca to Guanajuato. Yeah.
Good times.
Nice.
And I left at like minute 88, and I'm like, this will stay 1-1, and this will be a good result for Leon. And then I got Carlos's message in the chat as I was in the parking lot, going back in my car, getting ready to leave the mall. Yeah, and I was like, because that draw would have been much better for us, and Cruz Azul winning.
The one time, shout out to the Eagle Eye podcast. The one time we kind of wanted America to win. And,
yeah, it's like, no quiero nada de ustedes, no espero nada de ustedes, y aún así logran decepcionarme. Yeah, like the Dewey meme from Malcolm in the Middle,
Straight after that game, Pachuca Pumas 1-1. Yairo being the savior for Pachuca.
Yairo, nice. Yeah, and he stepped up to take a penalty. I've never seen him take a penalty before.
It still sees
surprising choice. Is there really nobody else on that roster who's more of a PK taker than Yairo? That's
Yairo's like super advanced for them.
Yeah.
Then the Tigres Chivas game. Did you guys see that the mascot of Tigres dressed up? That was so funny. And then like all the players, they had masks, except for like two players. I was just like, that's that sucks. But if anything, they could chop off the picture and the two players didn't have a mask. It would be fine. Golazo de Gignac, Chivas, Louis, they lost 2-1. Obviously, our game is 0-0, scoreless. Louis just recapped the Cruz Azul win over America, and San Luis and Monterrey drawing 1-1. That game, I only saw the Hector Moreno. Oh, no, it was like... I thought it was Moreno that scored. Anyways.
I think they called that one back.
Yes, they called it back.
They called it back, yeah. It was in like the first 10 minutes, and they called it back.
Yeah.
But yeah, Monterrey tying against San Luis. They just won the Conca Champions. And
Monterrey has, I mean, if you look at their, like, lately, they haven't been the best.
Yeah.
I was just
they haven't been good.
No, I mean, you look at, we're seeing since, let's see, jornada 12, they lose against Juarez 3-1. They lose against us 1-0. They lose against Querétaro 1-0. They lose against Necaxa 1-0. They beat America 1-0, and then they drew yesterday 1-1.
I mean, the only thing about them is that they prove they can turn it on during big times by winning the Conca Champions. So I think as long as they make the Liguilla or Repechaje, I think they'll be fine. But is it ligaMX? And last season they got knocked out by Puebla, so anything can happen.
That is true. Shout out to Josue, very active in the comments. He said, Ariel Roland has my vote due to the Leagues Cup and his previous history with other teams. I predict we will make it to playoffs. Maybe not in the top 4, but we will make it to the final. I don't know why they remind me of Matosa's game, very up and down, but overall offensive. Olan has a good history with elimination games, so I see Leon doing good things in Liguilla. And he also, to end, says, but I do agree with Gadi and Carlos. We have to be harsh because we don't want to lower the bar. We do have the depth, and it is not being used.
Great input.
That is my biggest criticism of him. Is that he has this great bench and he doesn't want to use it.
Yeah.
Even in games like that, he doesn't seem to care about winning. I mean, of course he cares about winning, but like not prioritizing.
Yeah.
I do not feel like this Toluca game was prioritized at all by the coaching staff.
Yeah.
And
well, one thing that he did do was bench Gigliotti when we didn't want him, because remember he was hell bent. He was hell bent on starting Gigliotti for the first couple of matches, and then it wasn't until the crowd booed him out that he said, "Okay, we gotta bench this guy." And then Davila shows up and he starts playing great, and he benches Tldp. So I think that was maybe the only tactical decision that I've ever seen him make that actually worked.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like some of his press conferences, like yesterday, like he talked about the PK that wasn't called as though that were the only reason we lost, and like maybe not the only reason we lost, but like, bro, like that was one moment in the match. Like I said before, what about the rest of the time? You know, you're not generating anything.
Man,
like
really
that's not something.
Tonight.
That's not something we can control.
You said what?
Talk about the stuff we can control. You know,
I said we're really going at Holland tonight.
We cannot.
We're tired.
You know, I know that VAR has not been our friend this season at all. I feel like every time it's come into play, it's gone against us. I feel like they don't want Leon to win another title so easily. Like they don't want Leon to get any help from anything. Maybe that's just a conspiracy theory, but it's gone against us so many times that that's how it feels. You know.
Yeah.
But don't talk about that in your press conference. Talk about the stuff that you can control and you could do better. You can't. I mean, having the ref confirm a call on the field is not something you can do better. And frankly, I don't think it was a PK. He got enough of the ball to where I don't think it was a PK. I mean, he's not going for the ball. He's coming in full steam towards Colombato. He doesn't care. He's just trying to stop Colombato by any means necessary. And he's not really going for the ball, and he just happens to touch it. I might have taken that into consideration if I were a ref, but I feel like he also got enough of it where you can't really call it. So, like, don't talk about that in your press conference. Talk about what you can fix, what you can do better, and your players can do better. I don't want to hear him talking about that. Like, that should not be the first point of contention.
Yeah.
It may very well been in a game like this the difference between victory and defeat, but like that's not something you can control.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess we can't really look so much forward into the Necaxa game, just the fact that we need to win. But looking into Wednesday's matchup against Cruz Azul, they just won against America. We are in desperate need of 3 points. Obviously, we weren't. Were we content? No, actually, no. Let me retract that back. What are we thinking of a possible lineup that we want to see, and we hope that Olan puts out Wednesday night?
Well, I hope Elias starts. Like I said, if he was sitting in the palco against Toluca, hopefully that means he's heftily taken into consideration against Cruz Azul, and I'm sure he would, in the Azteca especially, like to have a good performance against them. So hopefully he's in the lineup. Other than that, I just don't know. He played everybody 90 minutes against Toluca.
Yeah.
And it's not everybody. He didn't play. He subbed out Omar Fernandez, which is something I wanted to bring up.
That was really weird.
You don't sub him out. You don't sub him. It's like subbing out Chapo. Like, you don't sub him out because he's the one difference maker on our side. Like, he's the guy. He's the machine. He's the guy that runs everything. I don't know. I just feel like every time he's subbed out or he doesn't play, we just don't look the same anymore.
He got subbed out around 70 something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Something
that
like
was really weird for me too. I was like, why is Omar leaving?
Well,
Yeah,
I guess, I would assume that leads to the assumption that he will start again on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would hope.
Yeah.
So what's our back line looking like? Are we starting Osvi, Decio, Barreiro, Navarro?
No, I don't think Navarro's ready to start yet. Not in this type of Liga type match.
So you say he's gonna start like coming Liga time, not right now. He'll get playing time.
I don't think he's gonna start because I think if he were informed, he would have been informed that he was gonna start. I would say, and that would maybe be the reason that he didn't play against Toluca, like to save his legs, and he wouldn't have gone on Twitter like with that shrug emoji. I don't think if he thought he was gonna start against Cruz Azul. So I do expect him to play though. I think he'll get maybe. I would love to see him get 30 minutes, but I don't know. I'm not holding my breath.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Might only be 15 or 20. It depends on how the game's going too. Like anything's. If we got a 2-goal lead in the 60th minute or something. I don't know. They may bring on defensive subs. You know, I would think maybe Ramiro. I would say Ramiro could be a candidate to start in this game too.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Ramiro was Holland's guy. Like maybe not since from before, but like he got to be Holland's guy pretty quickly in Leon. Like he is coming from another club, and no one was sure what his role was going to be. And he, before his injury, quickly became one of Holland's guys. And then he got hurt, and then since then it's kind of been he's been fighting for his spot back. But I think I would consider him a candidate to possibly start. And
who would you pair him with? Because we still have that right back.
Tecillo.
Yeah. I mean, I would. Although I don't know, Osfi, like, you know, I'm not so jacked to talk about this as you guys will be. But he played for Mexico in that friendly against Ecuador and scored a golazo, and then started against Toluca a few days later. And so now is he gonna start again against Cruz Azul? I don't know. He's young, he's fit, but like that's a lot of mileage on those legs. I don't know.
I see him starting. I think he's gonna start.
I would be okay with it to say I harp on this. I like to see you more as a left back than as a center back.
I think we all
so
do.
I would love to see a Tecillo from left to right, a Tecillo, Ramiro, Barreiro, Mosquera, because I don't think Avion is ready to go back line.
Damn, you literally just put 4 center backs as your back line.
Well, but I don't.
All of those
Tecillo plays as a center back, but I think he looks more natural as a left back. That's why I like him better there.
You know, my is going to be Mosquera on that side.
Yeah.
To his credit, I think he had a very, very nice game against Toluca. Considering, it was kind of a prueba de fuego for him, like not being in and out of the lineup and starting and being matched up primarily with Ruben Sambueza, like who's going to give anybody fits. I thought he did pretty well in that. I think Sambueza was not as comfortable as he could have been, and that's what you're looking for with him. So
Mosquera's always ready to go.
He's had some bad games, and he's always good for giving up at least 1 PK per game. But I think he's also your old reliable in some situations, and I think he looked pretty good against Toluca, and I think he could potentially start again against Cruz Azul if Avion is unavailable.
Okay.
Midfield, obviously, Jefecito, Colombato.
And
yeah, I think Colombato is always good to go.
Yeah.
Like,
no
he's
doubt.
a kid, man. He's a kid. He's got fresh
legs. He's a young kid. His legs are always fresh.
Yeah.
Hopefully his ankle's still fresh after that. But
yeah, I want to see Elias start too. Elias, Fernandez, Mena, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you have Elias
but
and Mena.
I mean, Mena. I don't know, Mena. Like, but he started and played all 90 against Toluca, and he's 33. Like, I don't know. I would have subbed him off.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen him play more games in shorter periods of time.
But we know he's going to like playing against Cruz Azul. He loves playing in the Azteca. We know that. So
he's going to start.
I see him start Wednesday and then possibly not starting the last game but getting subbed in.
Yeah.
What about?
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll probably go all out for this game on Wednesday, and then hopefully, depending on where we're sitting, like maybe we get some lucky results and some teams will, maybe Tigres will get a surprise loss or something, and then some teams will be out of reach or not as close to, I don't know what, but hopefully we can get some favorable results and some teams that might have been able to catch us otherwise won't. We can rest a couple guys against Necaxa. I don't know. We'll see. Although Necaxa, like, the teams that are trending upward in the league are the ones that are in the in the road game positions of the repechaje, or not even in the repechaje, but close to it. Like those are the teams that are trending upward. Like Necaxa, like has looked pretty good, and Pumas has looked pretty good.
They're
and
weird. I can't stand watching them.
Even Xolos has looked pretty good. They're eliminated, obviously, but like Juarez, they lost to Puebla, but they had looked pretty good. Like all these teams, the only teams that are trending that have been trending upward for me are the ones that are out of the top positions and probably aren't true contenders. The true contenders aren't trending upward except for maybe Tigres, which is not to anyone's liking.
So the good thing is that Thursday, Atlas plays against Querétaro, so we'll know. So we play Wednesday, hopefully get the 3 points. Atlas play that Thursday in hopes that, their result is not favorable. But Tigres does play Juarez, Luis. I don't know if we can get anything out.
I mean, Juarez is one of the big teams.
They have, and Tuca really wants to beat Tigres.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's probably the game of the jornada.
Tigres,
and he knows
that one.
He knows the tendencies of his ex-players. Like he's gonna know how to coach that game. Hot take. You got the hot take queued up?
Oh yes. Hot take. It's okay. Ready? Hot take.
Juarez beats Tigres in this final match day. It's at the Volcan, no?
Yes. It is.
Yeah. Tuca takes his boys into El Volcan and beats Tigres somehow. Yeah.
By a final score of
well, it's going to be Tuca ball, like 1-0. It's going to be 1-0. Yeah.
Is he going to park the Tuca bus from minute 1?
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and park it.
That's probably
it.
Nice.
Dang. Well, it'll be an interesting game to watch. There are other. What else are we? I mean, last one as always. We're always scrambling to see. America contra Monterrey, also a game.
Mm-hmm. Wait, is America versus Monterrey
on Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
And then Mazatlán Chivas on Friday. So again, Chivas is attempting to make themselves look good.
Yeah, there's a few makeup matches as well that were rescheduled. So, for example,
there are, but really none of them have any bearing on our positioning, really.
Because Pachuca San Luis también that Wednesday, and then Pumas Santos.
Well, Santos can beat Pumas and move up.
With Santos,
Santos are 3 points behind us.
Oh, yeah, 9.
Yeah, I guess they do have some. If we beat Cruz Azul, then it won't matter for any of those games. But
yeah,
it's a big if.
Yeah, lots of games, makeup games, like Carlos said, and also the jornada 17. So we'll definitely see how that plays out in the standings. Are we ready for prediction time for Wednesday night?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Prediction time!
It's prediction time. I miss saying prediction time. It's been a while. We're gonna go ahead and give our predictions for Wednesday night, the makeup game versus Cruz Azul. Very important match that we desperately need those 3 points in order to move up. Louis, you'll be attending the game, correct?
I will be. I was unsure if I was going to, but I will be. I'll be there.
Awesome. So go ahead and give us your prediction. León versus Cruz Azul in El Azteca.
Man, if they didn't break out attack-wise against Toluca, which is one of the leakiest defenses in ligaMX this season, don't expect they will against Cruz Azul. But I do expect them to get a win. I think it's going to be a 1-0.
It's going to be one of those games. 1-0.
One of those games. I mean, they've all been those kind of games.
Yeah.
Look, if they can if they can get in the habit of winning 1-0, they got a shot in Liga. You remember when we won the title? Almost all those games were very, very low scoring and very tight. That's how Liga is played. You can't get 0-0 draws, but if you can consistently win 1-0, you're in pretty good shape. So yeah, they're going to go in. It's going to be probably an ugly game, some tired legs out there for both teams. I mean, Cruz Azul had to play until the final whistle in a emotional game for them in a Clásico. So, which they won, which we would have liked them not to win. I'm not going to go so far as to say we would have liked America to win because we wouldn't have wanted that. We would have liked Cruz Azul not to win, but they won. And as a result, maybe the only positive from that is maybe they'll have a little bit of a hangover from that emotional result, and they won't come out as ready to play as they need to beat still a very talented León side that is in some ways underperformed, but is still capable of breaking out at any moment. So, hopefully that's this Wednesday, and they put themselves in really, really good shape with a 1-0 win to make the top four directly.
Okay, Louis predicts a 1-0 victory. We have some in the chat. Josue said 3-1 León. A little bit.
I'd love that, Josue, but I don't know how that's going to happen.
Tango Loco said 3-0. Let's not even give him an opportunity. So both high-scoring games that Josue and Tango Loco see. Carlos, your prediction?
I was also going to go with 1-0, but just to be a little different here, I'm going to go with a 2-1. I think it's going to be a very up and down game. Neither team wants to lose, but both teams also want to win. So there's going to be a lot of offense on both sides. Obviously, both sides have a ton of offense, and both can generate a ton. And looking back at that Campeón de Campeones, we had plenty of opportunities to go up on them early on. So I think we'll have those opportunities, and we'll have goals by Elias and Mena. Later legs. And
I like that. I like your thinking, Carlos.
Right? We'll get out of there with the win. And 2-1 for me.
2-1 Carlos. Carlos, you took mine. I was gonna say 2-1.
Okay.
So Louis said 1-0. Carlos said 2-1. I'm gonna say 2-0. Let's go ahead and just give a different scoreboard. It would be awesome to leave them scoreless, make a statement, and then I'm just hoping if we win Wednesday, no se confían, and let's just I just want us to finish strong with the victory against Necaxa, and I know they might win and say, oh, this is enough, we're good, and
Well, hopefully they're in a position where they would only need a draw, or even could get a loss against Necaxa and still be in the top four. They're going to need a lot of results to go their way for that to happen. But
I don't want them to have that mentality. You know what I mean? It's happening to the
I don't want them to have that mentality, but I do want them to have that safety blanket because we can't always depend on their mentality. Sometimes they bring it, sometimes they don't.
Wait, what was your prediction?
Mine?
No, Cuddy.
2-0.
0.
Yeah. Threw a spice out there. 2-0. So in Chango Loco really were like, oh, we want them to win 3. We want them to score 3 goals. Which, hey, if they're right, we'll definitely give them copy and paste their results on there for next show. Guys, anything else before we go?
Huge week, man. Huge week if we can get these 2 wins.
If we can get these 2 wins, we're in.
Yeah.
We're in. And I think all that matters this season is getting in. And not the repechaje.
Yeah, we don't want to be put in that situation like we were last season because anything can happen.
Yep. Definitely. So obviously after it's going to be a week break, and then the following week after that will be when Liga starts. So definitely lots of football yet to come. Obviously León keeps winning. We'll have more podcasts around, which definitely during Liga time is very exciting and frustrating at times. But thank you guys for joining us on this episode 95. We're almost to 100, guys. It's crazy.
5 more.
5 more episodes. Thank you for everybody that joined us via Periscope. You guys jumped on for a bit.
Wait,
Also
can we
on
hit?
YouTube. Go ahead.
Can we hit 100 if we make it to the final? Let's see. We have 2 more. That's 2. We have 2 more matches. Well, we're gonna do one next week, right? So that's 96.
Next week, 96.
And then we have quarterfinal, semifinal, and final. That puts us at 99.
we could probably.
We have to make the repechaje in order to get to 100, Carlos.
I mean, we can do one celebratory one after we win the championship.
Yeah. We have some awards or something.
Pop some champagne.
Have to have a disclaimer for that. Like, please do not drink or drive. All that stuff. Maybe hope. I mean, we'll see how we can manage to get to that 100th episode.
Yep.
With the victory. But in the meantime, we'll take it episode by episode. Thank you everybody that watched us. Shout out to Josue and Chango Loco, always being very interactive with us in the chats. We really appreciate you guys. We want you guys to continue to give us your opinions and everything about Leon. Louis, have a safe trip. We will definitely see your videos up. I'm expecting a victory dance as well on Wednesday.
I really wanted one in La Bombonera because I don't have one there. I have one already in the Azteca.
What happened?
What do you mean?
Ask Leon. What happened? I mean, they took your possible victory dance.
Yeah, they robbed me of my chance at a victory dance in a new stadium. Because I already have one. The first one I ever did was at the Azteca, obviously against America, not Cruz Azul. But really hoping to have that opportunity.
Louis sends a shout out to Osvi saying, Osvi, if you would have just put it in against Toluca, Louis would have had his victory dance.
Or Davila. Davila had a great chance in the first half. Just put it wide. Yeah.
But okay, guys, we're gonna go ahead and take off. Thank you guys for joining us. We hope to see you on the next episode of the Lions Den podcast, and we'll see you until then.